Hello, Gary. Hello, Gary. Hello, Gary. I was thinking, what's he saying here? Hello, Gary. There's a Gary in the house.
Do you want me to do Peyton or you?
Hello, Gary.
Or Yao Chow?
You do everything, Baz. You just do everything.
All right.
Oh, the YouTube's on the screen.
Yeah, so
Don't forget that. YouTube is on the screen.
That,
Robert Walk went straight in. He said you were talking about optional restrictions yesterday. In Austria, it has been compulsory for a few weeks to wear face masks inside supermarkets and public transport. I was told to wear it in a bank. I mean, that's not necessarily the place you want to be wearing a mask, a face mask, is
Not
it?
really,
in a
no.
bank, it
But
could.
see, Scotland have come out yesterday and they're the first UK country to
What
say
did you say?
you should wear it.
You see Mike Pence going to a hospital and he was, they were all told to wear a face mask and he didn't wear a face mask.
Why?
Because he's a dick. Because he said, I get tested regularly and that's so I don't need to. But they're thick, because what they don't understand is they're the example setters.
So, yeah.
They set the example. It's like parents and kids. He's the vice president of America. Anyway, Sophie Gallagher says, evening lads, I reckon we will swap Moise Keane for Lorenzo or Under, especially after the weekend. I don't think what happened at the weekend will have will make a blind bit of difference about Moise Keane's future. They will swap him if maybe there's an opportunity for...
If it's another striker, yeah.
But I don't think that'll have a blind bit of difference, because I
That's
honestly...
an interesting one. Martin Villa, if you had to adopt a new surname, which current Everton player's surname would you take?
Ooh!
That's a good one.
That's
I mean, they're the proper questions.
Go on, what would you have?
I'd have Richarlison, I think. Barry Richarlison, I think, be a great name.
Is that his...
No, it's
That's not his
Richarlison,
name.
Andrade.
Andrade.
You see, Bernard is like Bernard Duarte, so I don't like that.
Okay.
Mina, I wouldn't want Mina.
Okay, I'd have...
Pete, you could have Pickford, Peter Pickford.
No.
Make you sound like a Marvel character or something.
No, thanks.
No?
We look a bit choppy on that. What's going on?
We do, don't we?
I'd have... let me think of what I'd have. Hang on, this might take a moment.
Peter Dean,
No.
Peter Coleman. Sound like a
I'd have
BBC
Sigurdsson.
broadcaster. Peter Sigurdsson.
Yeah.
I think with the beard and the hair, people would think you were possibly
Yeah.
Icelandic.
I think that one would work.
Put an accent above your name,
Yeah.
like, as well.
Declan says something, but it went off, so I don't know.
Did, sorry.
Robert says, I did feel strange going into a bank wearing a face mask, as I said.
As you said, yeah. On Patreon, Simon Rouse says, evening all. Gary Ward says, howdy. Hello, Gary.
Hello, Gary.
Adam Conroy say, hey, guys, have you seen a story in the Echo claiming Everton's value has dropped by 100 million?
How
meaning Everton are now valued at 250.
But how do you come up with that figure? Like, no one will know the value of anything till this is all over.
So I would suggest Liverpool have dropped by $500 million. United and all of that, because everybody's value will drop.
We'll put it this way.
Paper money.
Right now, oil isn't worth anything.
No.
Right? But the minute this is all over, oil will be worth something again. Yeah. It's all relative, isn't it? Yeah. Everything is relative.
I think Adam's just saying. He's just saying. Paul Thornton says, hi, Peb and Baz. Thanks for entertaining me on my lockdown birthday. Happy birthday, Paul. Hope you are well. Speaking of birthdays, what is the strangest birthday present you've received?
I don't know.
That's a tough one, that, because I don't generally now it's kind of like what you want for your birthday. Yeah. People ask you, so you tell them. So I'd be surprised if my missus says, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, I don't know, the Last of Us, I know it's not out, but like the Last of Us 2 game, and she got me a goldfish. That'd be a bit of a surprise, but I generally get what I've asked for. The strangest birthday present? I don't know. Probably not being able to go and hug me mum on our birthday.
That wasn't a birthday present, though, was it?
No, it was Stranger Thing that's happened on my birthday. I don't like the way we're a bit choppy.
I'll have a look at that. You keep doing
I'll
it.
keep talking
You keep-
and you do that.
Yeah,
Kane says, what is one away ground you've always wanted to go but didn't? Mine was Highbury, but if I'm talking now, I've always wanted to go to Brentford's Griffin Park, but obviously won't get the chance. Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Griffin Park. Everton played there years ago and I didn't go. But it's just off the motorway going into London. The M4, I think. It's a weird place, isn't it? Highbury was a fantastic stadium. A ground I've always wanted to go to, but didn't. It's a tough one, that. The baseball ground, years ago. Never got the chance to go there, but obviously been to Pride Park loads of times. Is there any any ground that you'd have loved to have gone to, but can't, didn't, and are not going to be able to go to?
Any that I didn't go to?
Roker Park, I never went to. I'd have loved to have gone. An old stadium.
The internet's just been a bit of it, because...
Yeah, they're using it as well. Yeah, Roker Park would have been one, obviously with the Archibald Leach and everything.
I don't know if there's anyone in this country I really cared about that much. Abroad, I've been to a lot of I've been to the new camp, I've been to the Bear Camp.
The Bear Camp.
I've been
That's
to
a classic,
the
Dennis
Burnabout.
Bergkamp
I've
stadium.
been to the Ajax Arena. I've been to the Stade de France, although that was to see Lady Gaga.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. There's no.
No.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think.
If one comes back to you,
yeah, why not?
then why not? Tom Welsh says, hello, lads. Hello, Tom. Matthew...
San Siro, and I might get a chance.
Yeah, that'd be an unbelievable place to go and watch a footy game. Matthew Barry says, evening, lads. Interesting comments from the Leeds managing director saying they have budgeted for promotion and all their spending has been assuming they do go up. They could end up back in serious trouble if they don't come up. They might not get the opportunity to come up, might they? That's the reality.
I watched Gary Neville before. He was on Sky.
Oh, yeah.
And he was talking to him. He's massively against it coming back.
He is, yeah.
And he basically just said, he said, you know, when you're talking about the games, he said, all right, put the Premier League to the side. Everyone's talking about the Premier League. He said, but you're talking about this plan. He said, they had a meeting about how you could keep the players separate from like the family and stuff. And he said, at that level, he said, it just doesn't make any sense. He said, with the money you'd need just for the testing kits is ridiculous. And he said, at that level, you just couldn't do it. He said, so I don't know how they're going to start it. So the question would be, how far down would that go to where, you know, and would it go to the Championship? Could the Championship clubs afford it? Could they afford, are we frozen? What's going on with the internet? Could they afford it? Premier League clubs, yeah, but could they afford it? So, interesting one.
It is going to be, I think, that, you know what I think needs to happen, right? And we have said this. I think someone just needs to make a decision. I think the minute they make a decision, people might know, might be able, it's just done this on this now, it seems to be working okay.
Okay.
Clubs and everybody else might be able to know where they are better. Do you know what I mean? If they're going to play it, make the decision. If they're not, they're not. I just think when you look at the stuff we got yesterday.
But the UEFA doctors just come out now saying that he thinks it's fine to carry on.
Oh, for God's sake. So it's what, FIFA versus UEFA? Okay. I mean, Lewis says we need to follow what France and Holland have done. People's health and safety is more important than money. It's absolutely spot on.
Joe the Blue says, what footballs do you prefer, the old mitre balls or the new ones? I prefer the mitre ones myself. I prefer Adidas Tangos, Joe.
Tango's the best ball
and they
ever
had
made.
that little bit of cushion in them.
But the best ball
But they
ever.
looked amazing, especially like World Cups.
Oh, the World Cup.
No, Nick, Virgin isn't our provider. It's honestly, it's because it can be...
It's actually BT, is the provider.
It's actually BT, but it's because they've just been in the other room doing a podcast, and because they're doing it to outside people.
It's the same kind of nonsense that's going on. Back on Patreon, Olav says, evening all, I see it's not just me sitting around waiting for this. Today the Patreon app is working again. Connell says, we're all glad that Bramley Moore is seemingly on its way, but hypothetically, would Walton Hall Park have been a good site to build Everton's new stadium if the finances were there?
No, because...
Explain it then.
Because where it's located is a good location in terms of like an Everton, Goodison Park kind of stadium. But in terms of going forward, number one, it's a public park, which I feel very strongly about building on. Thin end of the wedge once you start building on parks.
Yeah.
It's surrounded by houses. Yes, it's got a couple of roads by it. The East Lancs, of course, and Queen's Drive. But apart from that, it's got very little else. It's got no railway station. And if you think about what Bramley Moore's going to be, and in terms of how we're going to have facilities down there to move forward with, and the space, I just don't think Walton Hall Park could have accommodated that personally.
I think you're right, and the thing...
Sorry, someone's just put, Newcastle back. When were Newcastle a thing to be back?
Thing in the first place.
When were they ever a thing?
Has the stuff gone through? Poch.
Oh, they want Pochettino, don't they?
Newcastle, Pochettino's number one choice. Well, is the thing gone through? The takeover hasn't even gone through, has it?
See, Man United have been given permission to do the trial for the safe standing.
Have they?
1,500 seats all standing.
Excellent. I thought once United get involved, that's the start of it.
Definitely.
No, I've seen someone else, Pete answering through Geordie, said Newcastle will be challenging for the league within 2 years. That's nonsense. Because no matter what they do, they're still miles behind everyone. And I mean, like miles behind Everton. They're a garbage team at the moment. Not saying they can't be good, of course they can if they get a good manager in and they get money. But I don't actually even think that this is going through anyway, this takeover. And if it does, it just shows you where the Premier League is at in terms of allowing anybody to run any club. So, there you go. Let's get back. Connell says, who is the greatest African to have played for Everton?
Hang on, whoa. Big Palace Stew. You can't say Newcastle weren't good. When were Newcastle good?
Well,
they had like 3 years in the 90s.
They had a little go.
In the 90s?
No, they had about 8 years when they were good, when they were like up there.
What did they win?
No, they didn't win a thing. They never won a thing in the whole history. They're a no-mark club.
They're absolutely nothing club. Absolute nothing football club.
Not great fans, like big fans.
Yeah, but Sunderland are bigger.
No, we're not. Well, Sunderland are.
Sunderland are bigger. To me, them getting money is the same as a team getting promoted.
Well, that's all it'll be, because they only get one go at it, one summer, and that's it. Then they're knackered like everybody else. Newcastle aren't it's just Newcastle fans on the wind-up. Say, no, it's like us saying we're going to sign Messi. It's just nonsense. Who's the greatest African ever to play for Everton, in your opinion?
Greatest ever African to play Ghana.
Do you?
Yeah. Who else would there be?
Amo.
No chance.
Won a trophy.
It doesn't matter.
Scored.
Doesn't matter. Ghana was a much better player. Actually, I'm lying. It's Stephen Pienaar.
So there you go.
I'm trying to think.
Straight off the bat.
Pienaar.
Michael Doyle says, would you rather have a young spine of Stones, Barkley, Delafeu and Lukaku, or Holgate, Davis, Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin? Bear in mind how they are as people, how they interact with fans and their talent on the pitch.
It's a difficult one.
See, I think once you see Lukaku, you
that's
just think
it, isn't it? It's Lukaku.
The other three, I'd rather have the three.
I think Stones and
Holgate. I think Holgate's going to be better. Personally.
Ross is obviously better than
Ross
Davis.
is better than Davis.
But then Calvert-Lewin is
Calvert-Lewin's better he's better than Jerry. More effective than what Jerry would be, and I love Jerry.
Difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, tough one. Matthew Neal says, "Hi lads, is anyone else completely fed up of this big six narrative? We finished in those positions 6 times in 9 years between 05 and 13, and it was a top 4, not a top 6. Spurs and City come along and it's a top 6. Don't get me wrong, it's frustrating how far we've fallen in terms of revenue and value, but no way are Spurs, Chelsea or City anywhere near the size of Everton." Well, they're not.
No.
None of them are. They're richer. And listen, if this takeover goes through, it'll be Newcastle who will be above Everton, according to the narrative. It's embarrassing.
Stuart, could you guys start and drive a petition to stamp spitting out of our beautiful game? It's grotesque and has no place. No, because if anyone's ever played football, you will spit.
But
Not spit at someone else, but just
booking. That's
a pathetic.
It's a booking if it comes back because
pathetic.
of the corona.
People have to spit. They get moisture in their mouths.
Well, you can't, because what they're saying is it stays.
Well, then don't play the games then. Don't play the games.
I'm telling you what they said.
I'm sorry, that's pathetic. That's like saying if you sweat.
Well, that's what they're saying.
If you sweat, you should be booked.
Spit and then it's in the air, it plays. Lenny says Calvert-Lewin is overrated. He's got 1 and 2. He's got an XG of 0.63. He's not overrated. He's as overrated as other players who are scoring goals near the top. So, where are we? Joe Mack says, "I haven't bought my season ticket for next season as of yet. What should I do?" Well, you've got till, when did they put it back? Didn't he? To like May sometime?
I've already paid 3 instalments off
you
next
have,
year.
Yeah, I haven't. I wait till I pay it in May. But you'll buy it, won't you? I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, because we won't be going the match this year. So I'm not sure how they're going to get round it, but what can you do? Richard Dean says, "Morning lads from San Diego. Toffees, morning Richard." And then it went off. Something about Phil Coutinho.
He said, "What do you think about signing Phil Coutinho?"
Coutinho's an excellent player, but we're not going to sign him because we haven't got money. That money to sign.
He won't sign for us.
And I don't think he'd come here anyway, although his options are...
P. Brown says, why do you guys think Everton are played down in the media? Why did BT and Sky refuse to acknowledge our achievements? Because we've not won anything in the Premier League era other than 1 FA Cup. And we do not tick the boxes that they require in terms of the media and getting people to watch and stuff. We're not one of these big... we're not one of these sort of big media teams that there's always been this issue with Everton and the media. It started with Harry Catterick, but as Baz was saying there, when we were getting in the top 6 regularly, it was a top 4, and now it's a top 6. But that sort of makes me laugh about this whole idea of this Champions League thing about teams only qualifying through a coefficient, because I don't understand why you would vote for that if you were a team like Arsenal or a team like Spurs, because you'd be worried about that, or even Man United. You'd be worried about that coefficient.
Yeah, the shadow, yeah.
You want that competition. If a Super League happens, which is what they're trying to stave off, obviously we wouldn't be in it. But I don't know if that's... I don't know whether that's a good... I mean, obviously if there was a Super League, you'd be like, oh, we want to be in it, because ultimately what would happen is you'd get a situation where it'd be like the Premier League and the Championship, because it would take all the money, is what I mean. But again, it would only have so many teams, and I don't see people suddenly just going, oh, we're going to support a Super League team. Maybe people in other countries would start doing that, and then you'd have to cut your cloth accordingly, then maybe you wouldn't buy all the players. But if that's where football's going, that's where football's going. There's nothing we can do about that. It's greed, and we know where it's going because we've seen it with all the owners. If Newcastle's takeover's approved, that shows you where it's going. It's pure greed.
Yeah.
There's some other country that does absolutely despicable things. Kills kids as punishment. Legally.
There's loads of stuff. There's someone today who... the president had apparently killed their fiancée or something, and he's in charge of the bid for Newcastle, and she's written to the Premier League and all the clubs saying, do not back this. This is wrong, and it's greed.
But also, and this was something they were trying to get them to do in the first place, is their country was like hooking into Qatar's being sport and pirating I think it was happening for like the French games and stuff. They were pirating their signal.
They pirating the Premier League for
and
2 years.
putting it out as their own.
B&Q or something they called it.
B&Q?
Yeah. Not what they called it.
Fair
so, it's scandalous. So if the Premier League allowed them in, then it's a disgrace in my opinion, but there you go. But there's another bid after Newcastle, an American, Californian fella, who it's a little bit more like Liverpool, so it's a bit of a hedge fund, but you have to think for Newcastle, that would be better because it'd get past, I think, easier.
You can understand the attraction with wanting to buy Newcastle. You can understand people be looking at them going, with their fan base and being one club city, even though Sunderland's just up the road, they are ripe to be, plucked, and so someone will. It's inevitable, like most teams in the Premier League, like we were,
and will be again.
It's what you do with it, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's what you do with it.
It's just one of those things.
I just look at it as like, we need to look after our own house, never mind anyone else's. We get our ground sorted, and then we look after ourselves. And if we make mistakes, then that's
John F. Yes, they did. Apparently, that's the thing that's in the news today. So there you go. Thomas Bruce says, "What's your opinion on Graham Souness's ancient punditry? Can't stand him and his bias." I wanted to come to you because you actually think he's all right, don't you?
I think he's good, but the reason I think he's good is because I think you need that balance. I think you need that counterpoint to someone when people are going on about talking about like XG and all these kind of things. I think you need for the audience Yadar in the room. No, I think you do though.
This is a fella.
No, hang
on. This is a fella who was an incredible footballer, by the way, and he's been a bit of a hothead as a player. He was a hothead as a manager. He's been and done and seen a lot of things. Managed in Turkey, went and stuck the flag in the middle of the Galatasaray flag in the middle of Fenerbahce's ground or whatever it was, and he's done all sorts of stuff, and has got loads of brilliant knowledge on the game. Sometimes his things let him down, as some silly comments, and his biasness lets him down. But I think if you can kind of sieve that out of him,
you ever had the conversation? You ever had the conversation where you sit in a room with all people the same age, it's about football, and you might start getting into, all the modern chat, XG, and all that kind of stuff, and recycling the ball, and then you just have a conversation with your half fella, and then your half fella just makes it dead simple, and basically tells you that he's seen all this stuff before, and it's like my half fella can just cut through all that crap dead quick, and I don't mean in like a sort of he's seen enough football to know that things come back, and I think Souness is like that. We've spoke to Andy Gray this week, and he's a bit like that as well. Obviously, we like Andy Gray because he leans to our side, but Souness leans to the other side, but he's still got that sort of outlook of football's not actually that difficult. People just make it difficult. Yeah. And I seen him yesterday, actually, and he was talking about...
Get the likes up, by the way. 300 of you watching.
I seen him yesterday talking about Michael Robinson, and I just thought it brought it back home to me that, Michael Robinson was a good friend of his, and Michael Robinson went to Spain and changed the face of how they do things. This was an English guy going to Spain.
He's the forerunner for the likes of Terry Gibson and people like that.
But he was the forerunner for people like Richard Keys. He went over there and he transformed how they watched the game, because he's seen it from fresh eyes. And I watched the thing with Souness yesterday. He was just talking about him. I know I just seen it like the other side to him in a way. He let that guard that, because listen, when people go on TV, a lot of the time they're playing characters. Yeah, they're playing characters, and we know this. Someone's just saying about there, Alex, about Roy Keane. I love Roy Keane, but Roy Keane steps over the mark at times. The last time when we played Man United and he was somehow Pickford, he was just like, he's a terrible goalkeeper. And it was hilarious though, because you could just say, he was just like, no, he's terrible. And he was asked about Everton, he's like, no, they're miles away. Like, proper, just like, he doesn't have to give you a load. He just
did say that about Liverpool last year.
No, but what I'm saying is though, I'm not saying what he says, I'm saying how he says it. Yeah. He just cuts through all the stuff.
See, I used to love, Neville started doing that at the very start, and I used to think, he can't half like separate himself from United, and he was overcritical of United and all that. But now he's fell into the trap of Neville.
But do you think it's a trap, or do you think that they're told to be like that? Because I can't see that if they were in a production meeting, there's no way I think a producer would sit there and if it was they didn't enjoy that thing and go, Carragher, can you tone down the Liverpool stuff, please?
You don't think they do say that to him?
No, I don't think. I think they tell him to hammer up.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm moaning about it. I don't watch Sky. I wouldn't watch Carragher and Neville if they were sat in here.
But when Carragher...
hang on, I would, that's a lie. But I wouldn't go and chase it on the game. No, I mute every pundit and I watch other pundits.
But when Neville and Carragher are sitting analysing football away from live football, the two are the best about. When they analyse it, right? But when they're doing live stuff and the emotions get involved, that's where it becomes that caricature of themselves. But when they're away from that,
not talking about their
not talking about their... I've been in the same room with them while and had an intimate discussion about football. You know, we've spoke to Carragher when he's coming here. He's a different person.
Yeah, it's totally different.
And I imagine Gary Neville's the same. And I think
don't forget, Jamie Carragher's a professional red.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that he loves about Everton. He still goes running in his Everton stuff. He's a... Bellew, Rip called him out the other day on it and was like, pack it in, you're a blue nose, and he knows he is. But
someone's just put there, Lewis, Sky is a combination of LFC TV and Man United
Yeah,
TV.
it is.
But there's a reason, though, behind that. It's because Man United fans and Liverpool fans bring in the biggest audiences. Yeah. That's why they're always on TV.
You pay the money.
Because it's a simple fact is,
it's economics.
Fans, like you've just said, Everton, it becomes, they look at it and go, Man United, Liverpool are the fans that bring them in. And that's why Liverpool and Man United channels are on. Sky for a start.
Yeah.
Sky are looking after them, aren't they?
It's money.
When I watch a match,
you can do it.
When I watch a match, if the match is kicking off, if we're away from home and we're on Sky and the match is kicking off at 2 o'clock, I switch it on at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I do.
And I watch the match.
It'd go on.
And then
go on at 2. It's muted at half time.
I don't listen at half time.
I don't listen to anything.
Don't listen to half time. At the end of the game, I wait for the interviews to come on, and I might keep an eye on, highlights that might have happened during the game, and that's it. I don't listen to any of them.
There's nothing they can tell me that I don't know.
And then maybe on a Monday night, I'll see if they look at a point, like if there's been something's happened. So like when we played Man United, and I'll see how they cover that point. So for us, I know what the feeling is or why people think people have come to that decision. It doesn't change my mind on that decision, but I think it's always good to have that other opinion so you can either agree with them because you already agree with them, or just find out the rationale in what people are thinking. I think that's always a good thing.
Yeah, but I think for me with Sky, the minute you're going to use Dermot Gallagher as any kind of reference point, then there's no point. You go to a referee.
Dermot Gallagher's off on a Monday afternoon.
Same thing all the time. They never go against referees, or they go with the big clubs. To me, it's nonsense. But everyone.
Yeah, but we feel like this about anything, though. We feel like this about from the top to bottom of football. Is the whole point. Like VAR, there shouldn't be referees that the referee knows. It should be an independent body. The whole thing is tilted against clubs like us. We know this because the guy who runs it or used to run it came out and said we want a new winner every 6 years or whatever he said.
What he said, yeah.
So Abigail says Lundstrom is available free. Is he good enough after his showing for Sheffield United this season? No. Is he available for free?
Yeah. Doesn't sign his contract.
That's interesting.
Get the likes of had a couple of Reds come on and give the thumbs down.
Glenn Watson says, Pet, what character would you be in a game of Cluedo? Professor Plum, Reverend Green, or Miss Scarlet? I'll be honest, I can't remember.
Colonel Mustard, GP.
No, I don't even know. Have they got characters? Have you seen Knives Out?
No.
Find it and watch it, and if anyone else out there...
Is that Cluedo, is it?
No, but it's a bit like... It's a new... No, but know what it's like? It's a version of, like, say, Cluedo, right? It's a film.
Yeah, no.
Right, but with, like, that Made on the Orient Express feel as well. Have you seen the new Made in the Orient Express?
No.
That's good. You'd
Okay,
like that.
I'll watch that.
Right. But watch Knives Out as well, because it's that kind of... All the characters are like really big actors, but they only get a little bit on time on screen.
Yeah.
And the girl who's in it, she isn't that famous, but I mean, if you look at it,
you want to watch it.
You'll want to watch it.
Okay.
And if you've seen Blade Runner 2049,
Michael Barrett says Knives Out was boss.
Yeah, and if you watch Blade Runner 2049, you see the full gambit.
I'll be looking for that later.
Even though she plays like a robot thing in it. But Knives Out is boss, honestly. Okay. Watch it on one of those, those streaming site things that you've got.
Right. Okay. Well, it'll be on the American thing.
That's what I'm saying. Honestly, it's boss, really good.
I'll give it a go. I think I'll give it a go. I've just seen one that I wanted to read out and it's gone. Stuart Thompson said he could hear you saying, hello, Gary.
Hello, Gary.
Where are we? Paul Thornton says, I can't see how players could go home after playing behind closed doors due to possible contamination from wives, girlfriends, family and friends. I can only see players staying in hotels.
Well, this is what Gary Neville was saying, though.
What I said yesterday.
Gary Neville was saying, how on earth do you think teams in League One and League Two could afford... No, that's what I'm saying, but he was saying at the moment, they are playing. Because if you think about it at the moment, they haven't...
No, I get it.
So
I'm saying he won't.
That's what I'm saying. If the plan, it's great going Project Restart or whatever it's called. There's no Project Restart for the League One or League Two.
No, it's only going to be the Premier League for money. Stuart Thompson says Baz Baines has got a nice ring to it. Well, it's his nickname, Baz, isn't it? So maybe I should have that, Baz Baines.
Ricky Kane says Knives Out is a great film. Daniel Craig with his accent's a bit different. His accent is amazing.
Oh, is he in it?
Yeah, he's a boss in it though. And his accent is proper...
You know why I can't watch him? He's a plazzy dad.
Okay.
He's a plazzy
His
dad.
accent is like is a bit like one of those cartoon characters. It's like, I said, it's like proper sudden drool. It's brilliant though. It's such a good film.
P. Brown says no one at Batman is filming in Liverpool. Is Ped gonna go down to the casting centre after
I
all
applied
this COVID?
to be an extra in it.
But you might be able to reapply because obviously it hasn't happened.
Yeah. But we said this at the time. I think they probably would have seen pictures of me and seen like shows and got intimidated by my presence.
I think that's what it is.
I think, and they would have had to. They literally would have had to create a new character, a new villain for me. But it'd be like an anti-hero.
Can we get the likes to 100, please? Very quickly, thank you. 300 watching. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean?
You're making more, although you're making more work for them, but now be a good time for them to write you in, I think. Why not?
And I feel like they probably would have made me like a new Bane. They probably would have thought, going to have to put a mask on him because of the...
I mean, Stuart Lowe says high karate or Old Spice.
Neither.
No, I don't know what. Karate, I don't know what they smell like.
Very 70s aftershave.
Okay. AS on Patreon says, even the lad saw the Pienaar interview the other day. It was amazing. If you could swap one player from our current team with one from the Moyes team, who would it be?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. We'll come back to that because I just want to see it. Nicholas said you would be in a great Commissioner Gordon, Ped. Nick, I would like to think, sorry, that I wouldn't be the commissioner though at that point. I would be a little bit, I'd probably just be a chief inspector. Go back to that question.
Swap a player now with a player from the Moyes era. Who would it be?
Swap, I have to literally swap.
Just give them Snidling and then just...
They can have Snidling all day. And I would take...
Pina, Kale, Arteta, Yak.
Oh, that's a difficult one. Tim Cahill.
Okay, fair enough.
Tim Cahill.
Kane says, Ped, go to the San Siro. It's my best ever ground.
I don't think I'm going to get a chance, am I?
Was in the away end with 6,000 Rapid Vienna fans when he played Inter. One of the best experiences. Lindsay65 says, even fellow lads and blues, what's the Tuesday topic? And agree, Moise Keane has been stupid, but I'm sure he'll realise his mistake when Don Carlo gets a grip of him. I definitely wouldn't want to be sat opposite him or Brands for a bollocking. Steve Kelly says, see the Odeon are no longer showing Universal films because of a bitter row over how movies are released.
Yeah, this came out yesterday because the president of Universal said that new Trolls film had made more money than what the original one did because it came out on that premium video on demand.
Oh, okay.
So it's made like $100 million. And he basically said, well, this has been a huge success. Maybe we're going to have to look at how we release films in the future. Rather than, so obviously, but you got to look at the circumstances. It's made a lot of money because kids are off. And so it's a bit silly to say something like that because films in the past that have just come out don't normally do that because he said basically what they were going to look to do is bring them out on video on demand and the cinema at the same time. And obviously a cinema chain, because they're owned by the biggest cinema chain in the world essentially. They're not called Odeon, they're called something else. I think it's AMC, which you'll see if you've been to America and stuff. And they were basically like, well, sound, and we just won't put them in the cinemas then, mate. You big dopes, because you're costing us money. Because I don't think cinemas make a lot of money on films. They make it on popcorn and all the other stuff.
And that,
So.
Okay. Keith says, hey lads, I see that Trafford Council granted permission to Manchester United to trial 1,500 barrier seats at Old Trafford.
This is the start, boys and girls.
Would only be allowed after restrictions are lowered to allow this trial to start. If this works, they'll trial them in other parts, which may be a start for others to trial.
Well, don't forget, Tottenham are already doing this.
Matthew Barry says the last time Newcastle were a big club, Marty McFly was playing Johnny B. Good at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. Steve Kelly says who was the worst referee in the 90s and the noughties? Gallagher.
Yeah. Can I just go back to that point about Back to the Future, by the way?
Yeah.
So last week there was a big thing online with like, I think it was with it was with Chris Pratt and it was with the guy who made Guardians of the Galaxy. And it was something to do with, it was about the 5 perfect films. And James Gunn, who made Guardians of the Galaxy, said that was one of his perfect films. And someone said, how can it be a perfect film if Marty's mum and dad don't recognise Marty when he comes back and realises he was the kid that saved him?
That saved him, yeah.
And a lot of people were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I'd never thought about that. But then Chris Pratt came on and said, hang on. He said, this kid turned up. He was only in their lives for a week. 30 years before. Okay, he did have a big effect on. But he said, can you honestly think back 30 years and go, if you put it this way, if someone turned up and he looked like somebody you remember from 30 years ago, you just go, you look like, you wouldn't go, you went back in time 30 years and brought us together. You just go, doesn't he look like that lad? Remember in school, the one who helped bring us together? You wouldn't go...
He's the son.
What?
So what, you wouldn't think like that?
But you wouldn't go... Yeah, exactly, you wouldn't go... Did you go back in time and bring us... You'd go, you look... And you wouldn't have any Also, you wouldn't have any photographic evidence of this person. No. So you'd be...
So the memory will have changed.
So your memory will have changed. I mean, and you go... So you go...
And you've watched him growing and changing anyway, so... Yeah. Over time. So he wouldn't be at that
and
stage.
Also, have you ever done that thing where you think you recognise someone because you start seeing them, like on the telly and stuff, you go, I'm sure I know that person. Or you start like thinking you know someone because you see them a lot. So Chris Pratt had a really good point and went, like 30 years ago, a kid you knew for a week, you honestly would think that someone would go, did you go back in time and sort us out? So, I just thought I'd bring that up. Well, it was a good point.
Owen, laughing, Newcastle are going to finish top 4, by the way, with Pochettino.
The point, listen, can I just put a line under this Newcastle thing, right? No one knows, if they get taken over by these people, right, they will get one big summer of no FFP, essentially, right? In that summer, they have to attract the top manager. They may or may not do that, I don't know. Then they have to attract the players. And they have to attract those players away from Spurs, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man United for a start. Chelsea, sorry, as well.
Everton.
Then there's us. Then there's Wolves, right?
Leicester.
Yeah. So they have to do that. And then they have to build that team. And you can't build teams like you used to build teams like City could. So they've got to do all that, and then they've got to do that Don't forget, there's a lot of clubs in the Premier League with money. I don't even know if we're in the top 10 for richest owners, right? So you've got to be able to then change that. And of course, they've already got the stadium. They can't build on the stadium.
No, stadium's
Someone told
done.
us because of listed buildings.
Done.
So there's no... Newcastle could do very, very well. Or they could do nothing. But there's no either or.
Look at us. Everyone said this about us 4 years ago.
Even we did.
We thought it. We just thought. We were thinking back to the way it was when City come in. So you think, oh, loads of money, that's it. We're going to be in the top four. It's dead easy. It isn't that easy at all. Liverpool, City versus Liverpool. Liverpool have spent a lot of money, but they haven't spent anywhere near the amount of money City have spent. And yet Liverpool are 25 points clear of City because they've done it gradually the smart way.
And we've had and we've had this argument before about it. Not an argument, we've had this discussion about it before, is that it's not about spending millions and millions of pounds, because you can't at the moment. So you have to do it the other way, which is Liverpool's way. And that means having to go out and finding the best people to do those jobs, and those best people already work for other clubs, like Liverpool or Man City. Why are you just going to jump ship and go to Newcastle?
Well, they're not, are they?
So
it's just the thing about it is, and Stephen makes the point there, difference is Newcastle, Everton are trying to get in the top 4 or 5, Newcastle are trying to get to our level. And that's exactly right. That I can honestly say to you with my hand on my heart, Newcastle might have 1 or 2 players in that team who I would take at Everton to get in our team. Other than that, they're all what they are, the journeymen or the lads who are decent in the Premier League but wouldn't improve Everton. So, and Ryan's right, Leicester are building without the money. Just because you get the money doesn't mean anything. Everton have got loads of money. Usmanov's got loads of money. And yet we can't spend anything because of FFP. Newcastle will be. Ped just nailed it.
Hello.
It's like they've been promoted. If they get this takeover, and listen, there's no guarantee this Saudi thing's going to even go through. And when people keep quoting 320 billion, it's nonsense. This family have already come out and gone, it's nonsense. Their assets and stuff, but...
Can I just...
Yeah, go on.
I just want to mention this really silly story. Authorities have launched an investigation after a Californian planning official threw his cat during an online meeting with colleagues. He's had to resign.
Good.
He threw his cat.
He's throwing his cat.
What are you
He's
throwing
throw
your cat
something
for?
else. An idiot.
What are you throwing your cat for?
Absolute.
And the tit who owns Wetherspoons wants to reopen in June.
Well, are you surprised by that? The fellow who said he wasn't shutting. Absolute dick.
Ryan Holt says, anyone remember QPR?
Another one.
Jargalenko's.
Another one with the Galacticos. They come out and said, the press were saying it, they're going to be in the top 3. Fernandez, I think it was Tony Fernandez, has got billions, he's a billionaire. Asia Air are putting 100 billion in for players. Where are they? Notes, just whatever. Steve Kelly says Premier League restart may need neutral venues from matches, says the police chief. Keith says, Baz, can you ask John the Biz about the Saudi government's investment fund before they take over at Newcastle? They have something to do with intellectual property, ownership, TV issue, and TV rights to the club, but I'm not sure the details. I'll ask him, Keith. I don't know how much he'll know on it, but I'll ask him.
The thing with Newcastle takeover as well, what you'll see as well is when they get taken, if they get taken over, what'll happen is their sponsor will become a Saudi sponsor. Everything, they'll do what City have done in a way, or Paris Saint-Germain. They'll try and flood everything with ways to build that FFP up. So the sponsor will be a Saudi sponsor that'll be owned by some company. And listen, we can't exactly say that we're doing...
I hope we do it.
We're doing something similar, and it is the way it is. But that's what'll happen essentially. So it'll be interesting. But
Paul 123, I hope so. I like Sunderland. I hope they are back in the league. They'll have to do it probably a little bit of a different way than what's gone before, but hopefully they will. Tom Welsh says which Everton player will be the best James Bond. Gylfi Sigurdsson looks the best in like the suit, I would say, with the hair put across. I don't know whether he's hard enough to pull it off, but he looks the sharpest in like that black tux, I would say.
I think, yeah, but they have to be English really, don't they? Or British.
You just do the accent.
Yeah, but you've got it sort of like a tradition.
Yeah, but they
Um,
change everything nowadays. So.
no, they'll never change that. Saying that, I think it was Irish, wasn't he? Pierce Brosnan's Irish.
Yeah, Stuart Lowe mentions the Venkeys as well.
Yeah.
When they took over Blackburn were winning the league. They were selling extra chickens to win the league. So,
Yeah.
John Sankey says, important question, Coach Carter or Remember the Titans?
I've never seen Coach Carter. Remember the Titans is boss, though.
Okay.
It is boss.
Adam says, I agree with Ped about how good Carragher and Neville are for Sky when they're not talking about Liverpool or Man U. The one thing I miss now having BT is I'm stuck with Michael Owen. Owen is incredibly poor. He's
incredibly
horrific.
boring. Incredibly boring.
Owen says Knives Out is really good. Paul McAllister asks, have you watched The Dark Side of the Ring yet?
Please tell me that's a TV or film.
I think it's a film.
Okay.
Have you watched it? I'm guessing you haven't.
No.
Keith says, regarding transfers and thanks to the wonderful Brexit, the transfer of players from the EU will be made a lot more difficult because certain criteria will have to be met, such as now players coming from outside the EU. It's a points-based work system. Well, we knew that, didn't we, when it was coming in, I guess. Sophie mentioned before about Gabriel. I think it was Sophie having a change of heart. So what about Tadibo? Well,
what change of heart?
Gabriel hasn't had a change of heart. I think Everton have had a change of heart on how much money they want to pay for him. And that might be the transfer scupperer.
Yeah.
No, it's nothing to do with him. He's agreed he wants to come. It's up to Everton. If that
Why?
doesn't happen, Everton will
sorry, Big Palace Stew. You called Big Palace Stew.
You got a picture of Sean
Got a
Dyche.
picture of Sean Dyche, and you're clearly a Newcastle fan. I'm not working this out.
How can anyone say, well, how do you qualify that Newcastle are bigger than Sunderland then?
Yeah.
Because Sunderland have won more.
Get similar crowds.
Similar crowd. Well, when even the Premier League they did.
Of course, they're in a bit of a they're in a mess at the moment. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
but then Newcastle have been down twice.
It depends what your class is. A big club, well supported club. Newcastle are brilliantly well supported, apart from when they come to Goodison. But Sunderland are well supported, aren't they? I'm just talking about trophies, things they've won, how it's perceived. But no one's saying Newcastle can't do well because they've got the crowd to do well. They just have to have the other things put in place. The problem I have with Newcastle is it's feast or famine with them. The minute anything looks positive, they're the best in the world, they're going to win everything. Even though I'm 48, I've never seen them win a trophy. They've never done anything in my lifetime. They finished second once. And whereas you look at them, or the minute things are going wrong, that's it. They're out in the street punching horses. Granted, not all of them are like that.
Yeah.
That's just one idiot. But, they should just keep the powder dry and back the team. That's what it's about. Real Talk says he will be Everton's best wrestling tag team. Yerry Mina would be one.
Mina and Dunk.
Stuart, Ped, would you compromise next season just to finish this season?
No.
Why? Why would we? This season, just bomb it. No point.
Matt says, where are the Dolphins in the Mersey today? Not that I know of. I don't generally have a Dolphin watch because I just feel like they're watching us. Terrified.
I don't want to, Matthew Barry says, big club supporters don't punch horses.
No, that's a very true fact. Very true fact. In the bylaws.
And Tom Welsh says George Lazenby was Australian. And he played Bond, and he did. And he was Australian.
I mean, he was.
So, Paul McAllister says it's the documentary series about pro wrestlers.
No, I've not seen that.
Who met bad ends. Benoit,
where's
Owen
that?
Hart,
Where is it?
Where is it, Paul? Let him know. Is this the one that was on YouTube? They told him to watch.
Know.
Might be.
Do you know who's a Bond? And you'll go, he wasn't. And I'm pretty sure he was.
Don't know.
Bob Holmes.
Was he?
Played on the radio.
Interesting.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. I didn't realise we were using radio.
Bonds, people used to. Hennessy 95 says, if the season is void, would we get Europa League due to City's ban?
No.
No, because we're not in a Europa League position, are we?
No. 6 points off it, aren't we? So, and even with the points per game merit system, I don't think we'd go anywhere, to be honest. Yeah, it is on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
Side of the ring. You've watched Tiger King, haven't you?
Yeah. Who is the maddest person in Tiger King? Have you watched Tiger King? I Listen, I've been to America enough times to know that the people on Tiger King aren't that mad. Especially if you go to Florida. Florida's full of people like that. They're just all weird. They're all like carnies. They're all people who like have to earn money by having attractions. So I don't think they're that mad. I really don't. Watch Don't F with Cats. That's mad. That's proper mad. That's I mean, and that involves
Stuart Mina and Bernardo like Hornswoggle. Gomez played really well last year for the Toffees. Let's hope he can transform that form to Everton this season. Michael Owen. Owen said things about, you know, if you don't score, you don't win the game. Something, didn't he?
Matthew Lunson, favourite Bond actor? Sean Connery.
Connery.
And Daniel Craig, pretty good as well. Modern.
Spooks, 1 to 10.
Seasons, first one in Liverpool. I watched a bit of Spooks. Very dark, dark show.
Yeah, I watched the first 2 series. It was good, but it was very dark.
Ped do the Ric Flair woo. Not right now. He's got to save that for the end.
Where are we? Matthew, how are you two able to work in the studio with everyone in lockdown? Well, A, everyone isn't in lockdown because people can go to work. B, we're socially distancing.
It's the worst it's not even a lockdown, is it?
And C, because we are in lockdown everywhere else. So we drive into the, I've explained this before, but probably to our patrons. We drive into the studio. There's only us in here. We come into the studio. We socially distance. We get back in our car and we drive back to our house. We don't go anywhere. That's how we're able to do it. Where are we?
Ella says in Don't F with Cats, the Facebook group was so dumb. It was obvious it was Luca tipping them off. Yeah, that only makes sense if you've watched the Ellis, but it was a little bit. Yeah, but at the end of the day, that's the whole point of it, isn't it? The sort of get into that. Did they enable that fella to be the person he wanted to be? It's all you've got to watch it to understand. It's very dark.
Glenn Watson, what's the best thing to put on a barbecue? That isn't meat. Corn on the cob.
Coal.
I mean. There you go.
Someone just said there about starting Road to Glory. Who says we haven't started a new Road to Glory?
There you go. Stuart Thompson says, Ped's right. It was a radio adaptation of Moonraker. Bob Holmes is Bond. Michael Barrett says, Baz and Ped are key workers. They keep me sane. The FA, this is Izedu. The FA won't void the season. The Prem would lose nearly £1 billion. What would it mean for Everton and other clubs like Burnley losing more money? Well, the biggest losers would be Liverpool and United. It wrecked Liverpool apparently 116 million. Liverpool already losing 9 million a week, which is the biggest loss in the Premier League. And they think if it isn't completed, they will be in financial trouble. Apparently, but everyone would be knackered, quite simply, because a lot of people go hands to mouth. Liverpool have already had to stop the building of the Annie Road because they haven't got the money to do it. So another 120 million that they were banking on, because they have one of the biggest wage bills in Europe, would knacker them.
Deputy CMO Professor Jonathan Van Tam says the UK must be very painstaking and very careful in lifting lockdown measures. He says the virus will absolutely come back. There you go.
Okay. Big Palace Stew says, sound like Sean, that's why I've got... Oh, he likes Sean. That's why I've got a pick of him. Newcastle, bigger club, stadium, bigger for a start in the 90s. And we have 4 league titles and 6 FA Cups. You haven't won a trophy, though, since 1951.
Haven't Sunderland won more league titles?
I think so. I mean, listen, Newcastle, like we said before, I loved watching Newcastle under Keegan. They were brilliant. Andy Cole, Beardsley, they were absolutely brilliant. And Bobby Robson's Newcastle were good to watch as well, with Shearer and a Spriller and people.
I don't think it really counts if your last FA Cup win was against the Corinthians, though.
But
why are we even having this argument? I don't care. I honestly don't. You have your little fight with someone. I don't care. Klopp says his favourite film is Dumb and Dumber. and he laughs so hard that his family cannot watch it with him. It's a good film. It's a good film, Dumb and Dumber. Ma can't be, yeah.
Matthew Lumsden wants to know if Paul Machin is more manly than you.
No, of course he's not. No one's more manly than me in the world. Stewart says, Ped's thoughts on Florida announcing sport essential business and having UFC on the 9th of May. Well, they said that because it was a WWE, wasn't it? Where have their censors there. Florida's one of the dumbest places on earth. Literally, it's one of the dumbest places on earth. The people there are renowned for being so thick, it's unbelievable. Yes, Orlando's an amazing place, I grant you that, of course it is, but it is just swampland with swamp people. So there is a thing, isn't it, in America where it's like newspapers where it says Florida man does.
No, it does. They do. It does get criticised.
And anyone who watched The Good Place will know that one of the people in it is from like Jackson, and he's just the thickest person. Jacksonville. They have Jacksonville rules.
I've been to Jacksonville.
And it's just yeah.
I've been to
Jacko.
Harsh.
He might do. Matt, we can't do the top 5 favourite films because it's just too much of a question. So why is this guy keep on saying Blue Ice to us? Is he a Titanic fanatic?
I don't know what's Blue Ice.
I don't know. Sounds weird.
I don't know. I mean, if
anything happening on Patreon?
No, patrons have gone very. I think they've all got off.
Dark.
They're normally like they're like the hours up. Now I'm getting off. I think. Who knows?
They're very reserved.
They are very reserved. I don't think.
Alex says Texas is dumber.
I don't think that our patrons like the Wednesday one because it's YouTube. I don't. The very talkative Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday. They don't like it.
Eric says, what are your thoughts on Jean-Philippe Gabama?
Sam, looking forward to seeing him back. Very good for Mainz. We don't know what he's like for us because he's played a game and a half.
I can't bear when fans give players grief for being injured. No. I just don't understand that at all. Unless it's like literally like they've got some kind of terrible dietary habits or they did it by falling out a loft. Then, you know, if someone gets injured and then the club decide. I was reading a thing on I was reading a piece there about his comeback, and I think it was in the Athletic about how they're building it up and the different things they were doing to help him, and that they put this whole plan in place.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if the doctors give him a plan and it works, then it's brilliant. If it doesn't work, then they have to look at something else, or then they have to look at the surgery. The human body can react very differently. All you can ask is that if a player knuckles down and does the plan, sticks to the plan, he's done his part.
Yeah.
And a plan might be amazing for one person, and then it might not work as well for someone else just because of something small in it.
Luke Garbutt's going to consider playing abroad.
So he's not going to Ipswich?
The world's changed, hasn't it?
Has it?
Well, hasn't it? They would probably think we can offer you
underwater?
That. No.
Maybe he thinks he can play at a higher level.
He's probably abroad. He's got a great left foot. It's just whether he's 26 though, nearly 20. So maybe he's a little bit more mature now. Maybe he can do it on a free transfer. I don't know.
I thought you were going to say maybe he can do it on a Tuesday night.
He could do it. I don't know whether
in the Eredivisie.
Maybe he can. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I mean, he did it at Wolfsburg.
Steve John says favourite place to visit in America?
Orlando.
Have you visited anywhere else in America? No. Okay.
I don't want to.
Real Tour says, just got my first console in 10 years, but Red Dead is £60 on Xbox. I mean, that's sort of like your first mistake. You bought an Xbox. You're not 12. You are not 12.
Why have you bought an Xbox?
Why have you bought an Xbox?
Why have you bought an Xbox?
Why have you bought an Xbox? Like, Red Dead's amazing.
It's amazing.
And I will pay 60 quid for it.
But it's an Xbox.
But it's an Xbox. See, what you've done there is you've bought an Xbox. That's what you've done there. You've bought an Xbox.
I believe the next box is supposed to be incredible.
Well, it will be.
Right? It's supposed to be better than the PlayStation.
Xbox,
but I still won't go near it. It'll be a PS5 for me because Microsoft, Bill Gates,
Xboxes are
5G and towers.
they're the Liverpool of
They are.
Do you know what I mean?
They are. That's your problem. It was given to you.
No, it doesn't matter. Give it back.
God,
Take it to cashies.
No.
David, Nate's caused the Virgin blackout.
He has.
Once he got
Sophie
involved.
can see us signing to Debo.
Why though? Why
I
can,
can't, Soph,
why can
but
you
fair
see
play.
that, Soph? Genuinely, because you've seen a few people on the internet say it. You've got to sort of disconnect the two things. It's just a name that's been thrown out there. Alan says, so if the other countries have stopped all football, how does this affect the Premier League?
Makes the product the most watched
Yeah.
game in town.
It's better, isn't it, for
It's
the
just
Premier?
better
Premier
for
be
them.
like, there's no competition. On a Saturday afternoon, no one will be watching
Everybody's
anything.
watching in the world. Everybody.
Everyone will be watching.
Mike Barrett says we don't like the yow chow melts. John Sankey says, seen a lot of Twitter talk the last few days about Tadibo coming in, which would mean Tadibo, Gabriel, Holgate, Mina and Keane. Do you think Keane and Mina will be moved on? Mina won't be moved on. Keane might be. We won't get Gabriel and Tadibo, that's for sure. Will we get even one of those? I don't know. Slightning Niantrum, who was doing Blue Ice, says James. I think that is. I don't think we'll get James unless it's a loan. I don't think we'll be spending any money at the moment unless something changes. But what can you do? What can you do? If FFP's abandoned, then maybe things will change a little bit if it's put back for a year, because a lot of other things are being reset. I was like, so on the interview I did before with that person, he was saying cancel it.
Yeah.
But what they might do is give an extra year back to Sky. So instead of the rights being, sign another 12 months with them before the rights come up.
Void, innit?
And then it's for like kind of thing. So they still pay that money, but they get an extra year as part of it.
Oh, John F., why would you do that?
What's he done?
He had both the PlayStation and Xbox, but sold the PlayStation.
No, we never. John's trying to mess with us here, I think. John's trying to call... I don't know how to say this. No, I'm going to save it for AOB.
Do we live in the Matrix?
I think so. I don't know how anybody can have an Xbox.
Stephen G says transfers up in the air. Players will be potentially more or less motivated to move than ever before, depending on their club and country's financial and health situations. I just think players are just going to sit where they are, aren't they, for the time being? I just don't think there's going to be... I don't know if there's going to be mass transfers, because as you just said there, if you're like, why would you move somewhere if you don't know what the situation is going to be like in that country? If you're going to have to move to another country and you have to interact with people, and football isn't, life isn't back to normal, you're not going to do that, are you?
No.
Because you're going to have to come into contact with loads of different people. And I just don't know whether that's like a safe thing to do.
Martin Via says, which Orlando City player would you take at Everton?
None. I tell you less.
Nani.
They're not very good.
Rubino.
Let's be honest. It's
Christopher Mueller's good, but I don't know whether he could do it at this level. He's a hard working player, but...
Trainer says Celtic or Rangers. Celtic. All day. Every day. Sophie says if Keane goes, surely we are signing a new centre-back. Yeah, we were signing a new centre-back, but that's been thrown out because of what's going on. So that would probably mean Keane would stay. The world has to just come to terms with what it is at the moment, and everyone has to come to terms that transfers are probably, for the time being, are just going to have to be put on hold.
With the least... We might still get Gabriel if we can turn that into our advantage. What we're saying is the deal was done with him before the world stopped. And that deal was done. And Everton were going to pay £25 million, so 30 million euros, whatever. Everton ain't paying 30 million euros for Gabriel now, and especially not the way FFP's gone with this, especially if they don't play the games. So, it's right. Steve got past the 100 likes. Is
the
right.
FA Cup should change.
6 thumbs down. The Reds are doing, the Bitters are doing superb there.
Stephen says the FA should change one of their cups to the FA Cup, NHS Cup. Well, they've only got one cup, because it wasn't for them then with no footy full start. Well, there's only one. The FA have only got one cup, and it's called the FA Cup. They don't have any other cups. So, yeah, that'd be nice for a year.
Football League.
Yeah, but that's the Football Leagues.
So the FA. They're both the same thing.
They're not.
The football
They're
league
not.
is part of it.
They're two separate things, though.
The football league is under the FA.
But they're two separate organisations, like the same way the Premier League's a different organisation.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. They just call the League Cup the NHS Cup. But they won't, because it's about people who pay money. Where are we? Do you know Christian Pavon at LA Galaxy right winger? He's on loan from Liverpool. He is a good player. Do you think he could do it here, Paul? That's the thing, though, isn't it? That's the flip. You see some, Martinez is another one who's looks like a fantastic player, but I know he's got a cruciate injury. He got it in the first game, I think, for Atlanta, and is out this season. But is he good enough to do it here? Looks it.
I think they take time, don't they? The other kid at Newcastle took a year.
Almiron, yeah.
David says, Graham, well, lads, a second wave is going to happen the season is over. People will want to pile around each other's houses to watch the footy. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is the problem, isn't it? And if we're playing, let's say games are getting played at home, because they probably will, and all this stuff of neutral venues, I just don't see how that can happen. No. So what happens if Liverpool are playing in Anfield and they win the league? How many thousands of people are going to be outside? How are the police going to stop them?
Can't.
Who's going to stop them?
Police.
How are they going to stop them? Are they going to
barrier?
Yeah. I don't see that. I don't see that stopping people.
Then let them all get.
But then they go home and then a second wave.
Be back on lockdown, won't we? That's the one.
Real Talk says, my mate is a scientist and puts a spoonful of butter and HP sauce in black coffee each morning for his metabolism. Discuss. Your mate's weird.
He's weird. What does it do for his metabolism? Is that scientifically
When
proven?
You say he's a scientist, I mean, what's he a scientist of?
Could be a scientist of fish.
Yeah. That's weird. I don't like that.
Scientist of water boatmen.
David Collins says, never trust anyone with 3 first names. David, never trust anyone with 3 names, because genuinely they are serial killers. Serial killers genuinely have 3 names. You think about it. Think about it.
Okay.
Just think about it.
I don't know whether I want to think
Paul
about it.
123 says, I think that sounds like a wrestler's name, doesn't it? Paul 123. I think he's worth a loan deal with an option.
That's Pavon.
Yeah.
Okay.
We won't.
We wouldn't do that, I don't think. But Owen Park says, why do people think we are going to sign everyone?
Because people
get carried away, get excited. There's nothing wrong with that, but what can you do?
It's life. People get bored.
Say.
This is why stories get put in newspapers or whatever. And also, don't forget as well, a lot of these stories come from the agents who pass them to the media to try and get their player and move somewhere. If Everton are interested, look at the Coutinho story. They're trying to generate interest. So if they've got clubs interested, then and they're like, oh, Everton are in for them, then that might hasten their interest to get them. Real Talk says, Baz, Xbox or Orange clubs? That's a really, really good one.
Xbox wouldn't make me vom.
What if the Xbox smelt of Orange clubs?
Is it an Orange club that smells of an Xbox?
Yeah.
Then I'd have an Orange club. It makes me, every time you say it, it makes me feel sick.
Orange club? What if
Why still talking?
What if they said, right, the cure for coronavirus was Orange clubs?
Well, then of course you'd have it, wouldn't you?
Would you though?
Yeah, if it cured the coronavirus, of course I would.
Would you though?
Yes, to cure it, yes.
What if they said it was a rat from a sewer that was the cure for coronavirus?
Well, you'd eat it. I'd make you eat that then, and you could fix it.
Right.
James Rodriguez wants to join Everton.
Glenn Watson says, would you rather have teeth that were too sharp, ears that were too big, or a nose that couldn't smell?
A nose that couldn't smell.
Yeah, but smells everything. Smell is literally everything. Your food wouldn't taste of half as good if you had no smell.
What would you have? Ears that were too big?
No, I'd have teeth that were too sharp. I mean, I'm not arsed.
Maybe you cut yourself.
Oh, ow! I'm not. Don't nibble me finger.
What if Orange Club sponsored Everton in a very lucrative deal? Would I buy the share?
What if Everton? What if
Done like smell
and everything? The club suddenly smelt of Orange Clubs, but we could buy.
That'd be all right.
Anyone?
I've been offered the nose that couldn't smell.
No.
There you go. There you go. Right, we've done over an hour.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Paul 123, the wrestler, says Coutinho is a great example of how football is about timing. He's clearly a fantastic player. You can't find a club, but can he find an Orange Club? No, Coutinho is a great example of football and the prices in it being nonsense, basically.
Yeah.
And why we should have a much better way of doing transfers.
Right, last one. This is on Patreon. Hello, lad. Jake Ablett. Hello, lads. Watching the Sylvan Distan interview, brilliant. Which is a 70-minute uncut interview on Patreon.
On Patreon.
Do you think him getting bombed out of the side had a huge impact that season on the players and manager and what they thought of him? Yes, it caused a massive problem in the dressing room, seeing him get treated the way he did by the manager. I think a lot of people lost respect for Martinez at that time, and I don't think he ever really got them back.
Mm.
You know, and then Etu was there and he started saying things, you know, doubting Martinez and all that. So it was just a perfect storm. If he'd left this stand in, we'd have been sound. Mark Foster says Orange Clubs are nasty. They are, Mark. You are spot on. So that is it. That's it for me anyway. So you're going to carry on. I don't know.
I'm not carrying. Why would I carry on?
I don't know.
Why?
Sometimes you go, well, hang on, I want to read this. Well,
I don't want to read anything. I was
Okay.
just going to check. Make sure you check out our interview with Callum McManaman.
Oh,
By
Callum
the way,
McManaman.
Very, very good interview.
Luton winger.
Says how
Evertonian.
close he was to signing for Everton under Martinez. Oof.
And now he's
close.
he's still a massive blue.
Yeah. Make sure you check that out.
Check it out, it's boss.
Check it out. There you
Check
go.
yourself before you wreck
Do
yourself.
that. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Ric Flair Nick F wants the Ric Flair impression to finish.
I'm just going to pull this out my throat. Look.
Very good. I mean, why it's down your throat? I don't know.
God, this microphone. Why the microphone in me stomach?
Don't know.
I'm just going to strut over and go.
See you later.